It's good evening, Hayley Gannon. Thank you for joining us at Yellow Shelf.
Hi, Joanna. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it is so good. You know why it's good? Because you are a children's author, and everybody out there knows I just want to keep featuring more and more children's authors. Congratulations, your book has come out in the last week,
It
Luna's World.
has. It
So,
has. Yes.
congratulations. Tell us all about it. What do we
Thank
need to
you.
know about your
Okay.
book?
Well, Library Dreams, it's the first book in a series of four called Luna's World. And it has, like you said, it's been out in bookstores for about 1 week now. And the book series, it centers around Luna Merrian, and she's a kid in year 5 who loves books and she loves reading. But she's not your typical bookworm. She has a tendency to interrupt others and have emotional outbursts. And it sort of it hints at ADHD qualities without actually sort of saying so. But I think Luna's really likable and she's really relatable. So the story, it starts with Luna telling the reader that she mentioned to her mum that her mind is always racing. So mum brings home a journal for her to get her thoughts down on paper. The book's written in diary formats, and I think that means that it's quite accessible for kids to read. It's got like a handwritten font, and it's filled with her little doodles as well throughout. And I think hopefully it shows readers that journaling can be quite a rewarding, daily practice too. And so we meet teacher librarian Miss Sunny, who Luna very much likes. And we learn that Luna is intent on becoming this year's best library monitor ever. But it's not quite as straightforward as she thinks. And Jade Jones, her frenemy, I guess we'd call her, she's got a few things to say about it, because Jade really wants to be a library monitor from their class too, but there can only be one from each class. So therein lies the problem. And basically, Luna and Jade have to battle it out through a series of library challenges.
Oh, yes, the dilemma of junior school and
I
library
know, and
monitors.
that's primary school all over. So one of the main settings in Luna's world is the school library. And this book, I think the library is a welcoming and safe space, which all libraries should be. As we were talking about libraries off air as well. Just I think public libraries, school libraries, it should be that safe space for people. And I like to think that this book is a celebration of school libraries and school librarians and bookish kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Haley, the book's like aged at like junior school, would you say that?
Yeah, so I reckon that Luna's World would be perfect for readers sort of aged between 6 and 10. So, because I'm a teacher myself or teacher librarian, I'd be sort of aiming it at kids in year 3 and year 4. But it could be younger, could be older, but
Okay.
roughly the 6 to 10 sort of age
Yeah.
bracket. Yeah.
And
And
Haley, tell us
hmm,
about, sorry to interrupt, tell us about, this is your debut novel. So you said in a series.
it is.
So tell us about what inspired you to write. Tell us about you. I know you just alluded to it, your background, and anything we need to know.
Okay, so I'm a full-time teacher librarian in a primary school. And I do plenty of library lunchtime duties as my playground duty. And I feel like I've witnessed my fair share of friendship dramas and library monitor conflicts. I have a team of library monitors, and there's often conflict. When you come
Yeah.
behind the desk, things happen. I don't know what happens, but I've witnessed a lot.
Yeah.
And so I first began to write some ideas down. My own children, who are a similar age to yours, I think they're 9 and 10. They're loving the Little Lunch series. Do you know
Oh, yes.
that one?
Yes, I
Danny
do.
Katz and Mitch Vane. It's a book series, but they turned it into a TV series, and
Yes.
so that was on in the background when I was when I was writing some things down. And I feel like that's a funny but realistic reflection of what goes on at break times in schools, Little Lunch. So my inspiration and my storylines kind of flowed from there. But also there's a bit of a worrying trend in schools with school libraries disappearing. Principals are justifying it by saying that classroom libraries are kind of making up for it. But I'm
Yeah.
not sure that they do. A classroom library is like a little corner of the classroom with a collection of books for kids to read. Like the
Mm.
teacher puts a little shelf together, and that's the classroom library, which in itself is important.
Yeah,
But I don't think that should be the only place for kids
of
to access
course.
books.
And
Yeah.
that's almost like a breakout space, isn't it, in those
Yeah,
classrooms, as opposed to a library.
yeah, and I know how much the kids at my school love coming to the library, and
Yeah.
without blowing my own trumpet too much, I'm pretty good at getting kids excited about reading and matching kids with the right book because that's what I'm qualified to do. And I just think it's so important. And there's a big Australian campaign for school libraries going on. It's been going on for a while now. It's like hashtag students need school libraries, and the big focus is that it's so important for schools to have a school library first of all, but to also have it managed by qualified staff. And it's not always the case. Yeah, and the positive impact of school libraries is it's quite incredible in terms of literacy levels and that sort of thing. So
Yeah. And like you
yeah,
said, it's a safe space, whether it's a quiet space for those kids who do just want to read, but also
yeah,
those kids who are just curious about the world and books in general.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Hayley, tell me about you on socials. Tell me if we're curious about the book, if we're curious about you or connecting with you, how do we connect? And I'll put that in the show notes.
Okay, so I'm mainly on Instagram. My handle is at Hayley in the library, and I do like to put lots of colourful photos from my school library up on the grid. And I've been trying to do a little bit of behind the scenes stuff on there too about my writing journey. People have been quite curious about the process, and it's been a big learning curve for me as well. I'm a debut author. I didn't really know what I was doing. Maybe now that I've had one book completed, I might get better at the whole thing.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, huge learning curve. But gosh, the Affirm Press team just have been so amazing. I keep raving about them, but it's absolutely true. And the illustrator Michelle Conn, she's just brought so much to the book itself with her illustrations. So a little shout out to her Instagram page. She's at Michelle Conn _ illustration, I think. And yeah, without her, this wouldn't have happened either. So just
Yeah.
wonderful, the
Oh, I'm
Affirm
glad you
Press
mentioned
team.
Michelle
Yeah.
because that's, it just adds to the package of the book, doesn't it? Stunning.
Oh,
And
yep.
I will put Michelle's details in the show notes.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Um, Congratulations. So when are the other books coming out? Like, is
Okay.
there a
So
timeline or just
yeah, no, book two has been written and is going through the editorial process, and that's out in August of this year. And then next year in 2026, book three in April, and then book four, the final one, will be August 2026. So it's all happening.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of overlapping at the moment as well. With, I'm doing publicity for book one and I'm editing book
Yeah.
two, and I'm now thinking about book three and where that's headed. So it's exciting though.
Crazy time.
Yeah.
Well, make sure you enjoy it because it is, I know it can be crazy, but it's also a learning journey,
Yeah.
which is all part of it. Can I lock you in to come back for the books as they come
That would
out? I
be
would
so
love to get you
good.
back.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. Yeah, thank
Well,
you.
look, enjoy this journey of Luna's World, and we look forward to hearing all about those to come. Thank you for joining us, Hayley.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Cheers.